Do you feel that your partner should pay you to do chores? I mean, I suppose that's if your partner doesn't do them him or herself. 0207 862 2222, that's the number. Do give me a ring. There was an article in the Times yesterday written by a lady who said she got so sick of her boyfriend not pulling his weight around the house, she decided to bill him for the hours she spent cooking, cleaning, ironing, etc. She then invoiced him at the rate of £20 an hour. I'd like to know if you think this is a practical way around the often gender split in household chores, or do you think this lady needs to find another way to make him pull his weight? Let's go to Jemma on this one first.
I love this topic.
Yes.
I was with I'm not going to say who it is because she's quite well known, but a friend the other day.
Go on, say
who was it?
I can't.
An Excel spreadsheet for her partner.
No way.
Where she had itemised everything that she does versus what he does in terms of the division of labour.
Oh, she sounds nice.
Within the house. She was quite irate. She's not a good friend. She's someone I met through work. And I was like, wow. and it was a lot. But I think she'd obviously hit her moment where she was like, I can't ask again. And I think they both have big jobs and they both have small children. And so she'd itemised it. And it was things like, I buy the presents for the children to take to their parties. I do this, I do that. These are things you don't think about. And I think it was when it was all written down, perhaps a bit of a wake-up call for him.
Yeah, and I think children are quite... Wait until you have children, then you really understand how bad the division of labour is, because that, really that's when men don't really do well, in my experience.
In your experience, not in mine.
I mean, we are generalising here, but we're allowed to do that. We're allowed to draw on our own experience.
I think part of the problem is that they don't... I don't think it's necessarily conscious. They don't do it on purpose. They just don't think in the same way that women do.
I mean, does it all boil down really to the role of loo paper? So that if, I mean, I know this is a generalisation.
Yes.
You can certainly ring me on 0207 862 2222 and say, no, you do all the chores, you're male, you do them and blah, blah. You can do whatever you like. And we'd love to hear from you on this. But let's distill this conversation into the role of loo paper, which is... It's very often the woman who buys it.
Yes.
It's very often the woman who makes sure that it's near the actual loo.
Yes.
And then when the roll runs out, it's almost always, in my humble experience, now I may not have lived a very varied life, but it's nearly always the woman who takes the empty bit of loo roll, puts it in the bin or the recycling and puts the new, fresh roll on the thing, Bob, whatever you call it, a holder. And it's very often not the man. It's very often the man who does not do that. Similarly, the used up carton of apple juice or milk, it's very often the man who puts it back in the fridge with less than one sip of liquid still in it.
Yep.
And very often the woman who gets rid of the empty one and replaces it with another one. Is that fair to say, Paul Burke? He looks like it isn't. No.
Have I gone back to 1958 or
But aren't we still living in 1958?
No,
Isn't that the whole point?
Absolutely not. That is not a domestic setup that I recognise at all. I absolutely don't. I suppose the division of labour when my children were small was most of the stuff outside the house was me. Anything to do with cars, picking everybody up, picking my wife up, picking my children up, doing all the shopping, getting the bins out. And if it was inside the house, mind she was like almost pathologically house proud.
Right.
Was her, and it worked out about even. But
Do you notice the stuff on the stairs that is to go up? Or do you just walk past it?
Why on earth would... It's the most irritating thing. If it was to go up the stairs, take it up the stairs. That's what I do. I don't leave it on the stairs.
You are wonderful.
No,
My mother used to say, never walk up or down the stairs empty-handed.
No, that's fine.
Never. As you're going up, you slap it up, you take the stuff down, you go up and down with the stuff. You don't leave it on the...
But I find that men are quite good at sort of moving the dishes towards the general direction of the dishwasher.
Yeah.
But putting them in the dishwasher or taking them out of the dishwasher when they're clean, that's something they don't really like to do. And the loo paper thing, there's that thing that a man will say to you, we've run out of loo paper. You go, great, why don't you go and get some?
That stuff.
No, absolutely 110% no.
Really?
No. And I'm not some kind of new man. I'm untidy. I go and get stuff. I like going out of the house. Loo paper. Oh yeah, I'll go up and Sainsbury's and get that. Loo paper, by the way.
Yes.
You have to have the top.
It has to be that way.
You can't have it coming from underneath. That's just weird, isn't it?
Okay, agreed. I'm not going to argue with that one. And Heather's on the line in Leicestershire. Heather, what do you think?
Hi, good afternoon. Hope you're well. I have just laughed at this so much. Honestly, I have laughed. I have barely laughed so much. Firstly, I would like to know, what is the going rate? Is it more than the minimum wage? And how would I get paid if I had to do chores that I didn't want to do for him? He wouldn't remember what he had to do. what would I actually get paid for, like, say, for instance, watching the TV that he wanted to watch?
Oh, that
Having
is
to
a
do-
chore. I would completely agree with that. You deserve to get
exactly.
paid for that.
Double time.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And what other things would I have to get paid for? Having to take him shopping because he's lost his socks or his pants again, or he can't remember where he's put his car keys. That's a chore in itself.
You see, Paul Burke screwing up his face into a kind of rictus
Kind of person
grimace.
you're married to. If you don't want to watch it the same television as him, I'm not suggesting that we're all wealthy enough to have 2 televisions, but you can watch something else on your laptop, can't you? Take him to the shops to buy socks. Are you serious?
Ever. Answer back. Go on, answer Paul Burke.
Because I don't understand.
Why can't he go to the shops and buy his own socks, is what he's saying?
Yes.
Because he can't remember where he put his wallet. He can't remember where he put his keys. And it's a chore. And I just think, no, not at all. It's a hassle. But if I was going to get paid minimum wage or more than that, I would happily invoice him for everything I have to do.
Yeah, 20 quid an hour. The journalist who wrote the piece was charging the boyfriend £20 an hour. But in the end, the point is he did not pay up, though. That's the thing. He didn't even hand over the money. He didn't pay her. She gave him the invoice, but he didn't pay it. But Heather, brackets, are you happily married, though?
Yes, I am.
I thought so. I thought you love him. You love him, right?
All things aside. Well, I have to.
I could tell.
I have to. Nobody else will put up with me.
Tell us more.
I could know, but we don't need to know anymore. But you could tell that Heather was doing a kind of affectionate moan about her husband. She loves him. She likes him. She likes, watching television that she can't stand
But also,
to sit next to him.
What's brilliant about Heather is that she's obviously, her husband is obviously one of those people who just, women are like this. They just want the stuff to get done. So she's obviously just, look, we just need to get you some new socks. You're obviously not going to do it on your own. So I'll do it for you. That's why a lot of women, I think, end up doing all the chores, because the men just drag their feet.
But I also think that when it comes to children, I'm sure that my ex-husband used to stick a safety pin in the baby so that I would change the nappies in the middle of the night and all that kind of thing, or say that they wouldn't take the bottle, or say that they, I think there was an awful lot of professed incompetence. Yeah, exactly.
Weaponised.
Exactly. Let's go to Tricia in Hertfordshire. Hello, Tricia. What do you think?
Oh, Vanessa, I love Heather.
Heather's great, isn't she? She's
I love
fabulous.
Heather. I thought she was so funny. And Vanessa, love you too. You're looking fabulous today.
That's nice of you. Thank you very, very much. What do you think about this thing, the unequal division of the chores, that women end up doing almost everything?
No. Vanessa, I got married in 1974. All I wanted to do was do the chores.
Oh, really?
It was my dream to be a homemaker.
Really?
And I was very good at it.
Gosh.
And
did you
my
ever
dream to
get
be a
fed up with it,
parent.
Tricia? Did you get bored?
Never.
No.
Never. See, later on in life, I was described as very ritualistic because I like doing chores, and had to do them all always in a certain order. But that's for another conversation. No, I loved making a nest, and I was very good at it.
And did you also work outside the home, or was that your whole world?
No, I never worked outside the home.
Right.
I used to tell my husband I had 2 jobs, homemaker and mother. That was enough for me. Mm-hmm. In 1974, Vanessa, I come from the same culture as you.
Oh, right.
That was enough for us. And I could make chicken soup Friday morning. What else does he want?
I mean, I get you completely. Plus, I think it takes away that friction, because if you've got this division of labour, you're in the home and that's your domain and you're in charge and you're expecting and wanting to do it, and he's bringing in the money from outside the home and that's his domain and he's expecting and wanting to do it, then you haven't got that constant friction about you haven't done this, you haven't done that, you haven't helped with this, why don't you this, why don't you that? I mean, it's a lot easier if you can divide it up the way Tricia divided, isn't it?
Yes, well, what we're saying is that feminism got in the middle and interfered and ruined everything.
Yes, well, my mother used to say that. You wanted to have it all. Now look at you.
Now look at it.
Now
Now
look at
you're
you.
doing it
Exactly.
all.
Look. Exactly. That's what you look at yourself. Look at you. Look, you've got everything. Tricia, did your parents, your family, they expected it that way, and you were content to just do it that way?
But can I say one thing to you, apart from Shabbat, good Shabbos for the week and everything?
Shabbos on a Monday. It's a bit early, isn't it? She's wishing me a happy Sabbath, which is in Friday night, and it's Monday afternoon.
I might not be talking to you till Friday, but one thing I do want you to know is I am very unhappily single now.
Oh. Well, is this where we launch into where I say and so am I, and then we just get terribly upset about it, or should we just put a brave face on it? So we're not discussing that right now.
Let's put a
Listen,
brave
I
face.
hope that the Lord sends you a beautiful man who you will fall in love with. That's all I can say. And thank you so much for calling. Let's go to Jeremy in East Sussex. Hi, Jeremy.
Hello there.
Hello. And you divide up the chores with your wife evenly and scrupulously.
Well, what we do is, if something needs doing, basically, if the dishwasher wants filling or emptying, or the ironing wants doing, or anything, we go shopping. We're married, and to us, part of being married is you just do everything together. There is no, that's my job, that's your job.
Wow.
If it needs doing, we do it. And
Have you
we're very
always
happy.
done
We've
it
been
like
together
that?
20 years. We met about 20 odd years ago, and yes, it's from day one. I do the ironing, I'll do anything, and my wife exactly the same.
Wow.
It's whatever needs doing when it needs doing, and we don't worry about who's this and who's that. And I'm certainly not going to sort of turn around and say, you owe me money for that, or I owe you money. It's part of marriage. We just work together.
Yeah, and does that mean that you've
simple as
both
that.
got a sort of overview, rather than one of you's in charge and the other one does as the other one says? You're both in charge.
We don't have anyone in charge. No, it's just if something needs doing, it just needs doing. It's quite simple in that respect.
Although it's quite complicated, really, isn't it? Because usually there's one person who's saying, no,
Well-
don't forget the this, and don't, isn't there? And somebody else who's going, well, what? Yeah, so you've obviously got a beautiful marriage and a complete synergy. You're just two halves of the same soul, both doing the ironing. At one end of the ironing board is one of you, and the other one's at the other end of the ironing board. And for folding the blankets and sheets together, that's happy marriage. That's lovely, isn't it? We want somebody for Tricia like that, somebody who will do the housework with her.
Well, Jeremy sounds very zen, I have to say. He sounds like a very calm, nice man.
Let's talk to Sylvia in Portsmouth. Hi, Sylvia. Tell me about dividing the chores up.
Well, as I say, when you got married, you love and cherish. You didn't mind what you did for one another. Yeah. You shared everything, which my husband did. He was in the service, but we had sort of a service upbringing, rules are rules. Yeah. And my young sons, they could do their bit. They had to wash, clear the table. One washed, one wiped, one laid the table. And when they left home, they could cook. They could fend for themselves. They could cook a good roast dinner. So whoever married them, they had everything what a wife would want. And I can't understand why we should want our husband to be paid for what we do. You do it because you're a family. Mm-hmm.
I suppose it's when it's not working out right, when you're feeling exploited, when somebody's sitting with their feet up having a good old watch of the telly and you're somehow doing the ironing and the washing and cleaning the floor and filling the fridge and, putting out the children's gym kit, and you're just thinking, hang on, this isn't right. And,
That is different.
And I suppose that's where it sort of kicks in, this feeling of why aren't you being paid, Sylvia?
Well, why should I be paid for doing something that's for the family I love?
Yes.
And
Very sweet way of thinking about it, isn't it? Much less militant.
And sort of thing. And it's automatically you're a mother, and you're whoever. My late husband passed away, but we did everything is together, and I can't understand why women should think they should be mollycoddled. You do things together.
I think you have to get lucky with the person that you marry, Sylvia, don't you?
And I imagine that in the case of this journalist who wrote this piece, they probably both work.
Yeah.
So if you're both in full-time employment, which a lot of couples have to be nowadays, just to afford to rent a flat or buy a house, then there is that moment where you think, well, hang on, I'm working just as hard as you are outside the home.
Exactly.
So you need to pull your weight.
I mean, I said at the beginning of the programme I thoroughly enjoyed your book, How Not to Be a Political Wife, and one of the bits that I can't really say I enjoyed, because I was kind of reading it almost with my eyes. When you're reading it, you're thinking, oh no, was the bit where, obviously you wrote it, what happened, it's your life, where you moved house.
Yes.
Did you know I was going to say that bit?
Yeah, everyone mentions this bit.
And your then husband.
Yes.
There were cases and
boxes
crates and boxes, and your mother was there, and she'd flown over to help you.
And my very old cleaning lady.
And your old cleaning lady, and you're all schlepping around trying to empty the boxes and get the house nice so that you can move in and feel comfortable. and your then husband just repairs to the bedroom and reads a book.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
Yeah.
And in fact, when I
Not married anymore.
when I sent him the book to read, he said that was one of the most difficult passages because it was, you know,
And it was true.
he was in a difficult place at the time.
But even so,
But marriage. You're in the service business. Both people. You are.
What do you mean?
You try and do what you can to help, not serve, but to help the other person.